powerful stories, challenges, and drive for positive change within the education system. Today, we're diving into an essential conversation with Dewan Reed and Oscar Meha, the role of Black men in education. Despite making up a small percentage of teachers and educational leaders, Black men are uniquely positioned to impact students in ways that are transformative, especially students of color. But with all the benefits they bring, they still face significant obstacles, systemic, cultural, and personal. In this episode, we'll be exploring these challenges, the inspiration behind choosing careers in education, the importance of representation, and the impact Black male educators have on students and communities. We'll hear from educators, leaders, mentors, discussing what led them to this path and what keeps them going, and their vision for a more inclusive future in education. So my first question for you guys is, what inspired you to pursue a career in education, and what has your journey been like so far?
Well, for me, for one, I've been through the system already. Growing up, I went through the education system, went through the special education system, and I think the way I was treated pushed me to be the way I was treated. It's more of a passion led for me. I feel that the way I was treated should be represented throughout everywhere. And one of those things where when we go on these trips with the education department, we don't see that. And it's really unfortunate. And so I think it's just passion is what really is motivating me to push and keep going. And I guess is leading me mostly. Okay.
And Dewan, can you share a story or a moment that solidified your decision to become an educator?
Well, I can agree with what Oscar said. What solidified my passion in education was the lack of communication that the educators have with the students, the lack of support that the students have, and just seeing that, not all teachers have to be strict. Like, you can be there, not just their friend, but just a mentor and just someone to be there for them. And when I was coming through the education system, I noticed that it was some teachers who believed in me, some who didn't. And it's like the ones who didn't believe me, it was like they gave me that hope that, okay, maybe I won't be something. But it's like the ones who really cared and gave that extended hand, it's like, okay, we know you're going to do it. Like, it just takes some time. So it's like they gave me the courage. I want to be that someone for the future of our students.
Yeah, teachers have an important impact. And in terms of challenges in education, Oscar, what are some specific challenges you faced as a Black man in education, both inside and outside of the classroom?
Well, for one, we always have the ongoing prejudice, racism in the United States.
Yes.
And especially with what's going on today, we see it. It's very much active. And I think that could be also represented in a classroom. Not only that, some teachers may have bias because of a student of color. And I think that could be represented. I mean, growing up, I didn't really have much teachers of color. So that was one of those things where you had to find yourself as a person and find yourself with outside too. Because if you don't grow up with that community, then you may be lost. And you have to become a person. You have to know yourself before you can even step in that role. So I think that's one of the most biggest things that's going on today.
Okay. And Dewan, how do you handle cultural biases or stereotypes that may arise from colleagues, students, or parents?
Well, how I handle that is really easy. I think everyone should be treated the same way. So it's like, it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. We're all here to do the same job. So it's like, how I handle that is I just tell people, like, hey, like, let's not be biased. Let's not show favoritism towards just this one person. Because it's like one person may feel a type of way and feel biased and think, oh, like, why am I getting mistreated? And he's getting all the attention or she's getting all the attention. So it's like, as a future educator, I just think and I know that all my students will get the same attention, the same love, and the same gratitude.
I love that. And for representation and impact, Oscar, why do you believe representation is so important for students, and particularly Black and brown students like ourselves?
I think it's very important, not only because, studies have shown that colored teachers show a lot of growth when it comes to teaching students. It's not that we're saying that other people of race can't teach well, but there's research that supports that. And I feel that it is very important to not only show representation because then a student can relate with you. I think teaching is not only about books, but it's also about building those relationships. I mean, going now, I think some of my teachers who are colored for teaching me what an HBCU is, what an HBCU stands for, and that's the reason I'm here now. So I think representation goes a long way.
Okay. And then can you, Dewan, share an example of how presence has impacted a student or a group of students?
Well, how presence really impacts a student or group of students, it's all in how you present yourself first. So it's like, for example, our mentor, Dr. Warren, how he presents himself towards us, it's I'm that safe spot. I'm that person you can come to. I'm that leader you should look after. And it's like some people want them to be your mentor, and it's like Dr. Warren, he kind of gives us that box of, hey, like, he really should be my mentor. He really should mentor me. And it was all, I think it's first impressions for me. Like, it's all in how you put yourself in first impression. It doesn't matter how we meet, if we meet in a hall, or if we meet in a cafe. It doesn't matter how we meet. It's just how they come off and how their culture responsive is.
Right. And then breaking stereotypes and barriers. Oscar, what are some misconceptions about Black male educators that you wish would change?
Well, one thing I would wish would change is Black males or colored males are seen as the people who are supposed to discipline. Whenever you grow up, you see male educators as principals, administrators, people who have authority, and that's not really the right thing. Males can be nurturing, males can be mentoring, and especially for our young males out here, we need somebody to be a father figure. Not only it's important for students to grow up with a father figure, and I feel like the stigma is that male educators are people only in authority, which is not. It's clearly not.
Right.
And so I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And only that is when people see a male that's wanting to go into education, the first thing is, well, that's a lady's job. But is it really? Is it really a lady's job? Because I feel like anybody could have the gift to teach. It's just a matter of the way you do it. Because males may do it differently, right? We may have to include certain things. We may have to talk a different way because of the way we are. But I feel like males can do it the same way females can do it. And there should be no reason why somebody could tell us, oh, well, that's a lady's job. So I feel like that's one of the biggest misconceptions out there.
I agree with that 100%. And Dewan, how can we encourage more Black men to enter the field of education? Sorry. And what institutions do you think can support them?
I definitely agree with what Oscar just said. How we can encourage more Black males to enter the education industry, it's just that simple. When I was growing up in school and high school, I didn't have many Black male teachers. And it's like, when I first told someone I want to be an educator, the shock on their face was like, why? Like, what makes you want to really jump into education? Why don't you want to be in business? And it's just like, I want to be the difference. I want to make that difference. And like Oscar said, there's no such thing as a man job and a woman job. As long as you can do it, as long as you can maintain it. And I feel like together, we can all make it work. And it's like, especially when it's Black man to Black children, it's like, if I'm a Black educator and you're a Black child, it's like, if you don't have that father figure at home, you may not look at me as that, but I'm going to show you, like, hey, if you need a shoulder to cry on, a shoulder to just lean on when you need advice, I'm here. Don't ever hesitate.
Okay. And then, Oscar, what advice would you give young Black men who may be considering a career in education as well?
Well, for one, I would say be yourself. Not only do you have to, code switch or whatever you do, but I feel like being your authentic self, bringing that passion you want in education, you want to teach the next generations to come. And my main focus is getting kids out of the streets, right?
Right, of course.
Crime is at an all-time high, and I feel that it comes down from, well, they have nothing to do, and the only thing they can do is go to the streets where they'll show them that love. So I feel like it's more of a thing where you have to, one, be passionate about what you're doing, right? Because money is not there.
At all.
As educators, we are not getting money whatsoever. So I feel like it's just be passionate, be yourself, and just think you're going to be, I guess, teaching the next generations to come. That's people's babies, right? So at the end of the day, you must treat them as if you were going to treat your loved ones. So I feel like that's very important. I think anybody who wants to go into education, just keep that in mind that, you're teaching the next generations to come. And please be yourself.
Yes.
Teach the way you would want to teach. And of course, just keep it 100 all the time, I would say.
Okay. And Dewan, are there any specific strategies you'd use to create a supportive and inclusive environment in your classroom?
Yeah, so I'm a big social media, so I stay on social media when it comes teaching everything, like Pinterest, everything, you name it.
Pinterest.
So one of the things that I have seen teachers engage with is kind of pulling in the generation now of okay, what are they listening to? What are they doing?
Right.
So one of the TikToks I saw, the teacher did a wilding out session where it was every math problem you had to guess it, and if not, you're not in the classroom. You get the meme of it, but it's just the strategies I would use. I would make it to where it's fun. Okay, on a bulletin board this week, it's Netflix themed, but it's book themed. So it's this week's book is gonna be such and such now playing. Upcoming next is, so it's trying to get them to act because to me school is fun. Mm-hmm. It's just how you make it, it's how your teacher makes it. So it's making that comfortability, and it doesn't matter what level grades you teach, you start to make them comfortable. And it's like Oscar just said, I think about it as a future educator, I think about it as come 20, 30 years later, a kid come to me, hey, you taught me how to do this, thanks to you, I am here now. And it's even looking at my teachers and seeing me telling them, thank you for just making me choose education, it's that warms up their heart. Because at the end of the day, it's not for the pay, because the pay isn't, it isn't all that. But it's you think about the passion. Because I always tell people, I refuse to be sitting behind a cubicle, a 9 to 5, acting like I care, versus giving back to community and children that really want to learn. And it's those kids who struggle and struggle and struggle and don't have that help at home. That's why in the future I want to open up my own tutoring center.
Awesome.
So it's
Amazing.
Let them know that they have that courage.
So making it more relatable for the
Mm-hmm.
students, that Netflix thing, I would love that right now. And so, Oscar, what changes would you like to see in the education system to better support Black male educators?
Well, for one, I think racism, it's there. It's not, I don't think it's not going to go anywhere, but it's still there. And in the system, institutionalized, it's very much there. And we just have to make so our students, they feel seen, right?
Right.
They feel like there's somebody there who cares about them. With more poor demographics, you don't have that system at home. You don't, some people don't have meals, right? And so I feel like school should be that safe place. And I feel like we are worrying about things that are not as important as that. Getting kids to school should be the most important thing. Letting them know that school is safe for them. School is supposed to be the place where no matter what it is, books, it shouldn't matter. Grades, yes, grades are important, but grades shouldn't determine a student. And I feel like we should push more to, you come to school, we'll get you fed, we'll have people to help you. And that's the most important part, because people are going to look out, students are going to look out and they're, well, they don't care for me, I don't care about this. Right? So I feel like making sure we keep those kids in school as long as we can, and just giving them things to do. Some students don't show their real potential when they're not being shown love. Some students have hidden talents. I don't know, one of my students later down the road can rap. And how was I supposed to know if I didn't care? And you never know. They can make a whole lesson about an essay about rap. Yeah. And they can rap their whole essay if I don't care. As long as they're engaged in my classroom, then I'll make sure then they get what they deserve. If they're showing effort enough to stay in my classroom, pay attention to what I'm saying, and doing the work they're supposed to be doing in their own way, I'm happy. Right? Because that shows that they're learning the concept and they're doing it in their own way. So I think it's important to everybody realize that not everyone's the same. Not everyone's going to sit down at a desk and listen to a teacher talk for many hours on end. So I think that's one of the most important things to do, is realizing that not all students are monoliths and they're all different. Everybody has their unique things. Everybody has their unique hobbies, I don't know, some students may like to do different things. So why can't we cater to those students who do different things? Why does it always have to be textbook? And that's one of the biggest things that I feel that's happening right now, especially with education, is everything is either textbooks, everything's business. These numbers are saying, oh, well, these students are going to jail at a certain time. So how can we stop that? And how can we just keep them in school?
Sounds like you guys are trying to focus on making your classroom a safe space. I love that. A safe space for their young minds to flourish And it's great to see. And Dewan, so where do you see yourself in the next few years, and how do you hope to continue making a difference?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's a deep one, I know.
Where I see myself in a few years, I give or take maybe like 5 or 6 maybe.
Yeah.
Graduated with my bachelor's and master's. Working on my potential doctoral degree, but I see myself as an educator. I see myself not just being a teacher, but just also a mentor. I see myself starting up a mentor group just for my young students. I see myself, like Oscar said, I see myself being that teacher where it's not by the book. Like, if you want to rap it out, if you want to sing your essay out, if you want to get up and just do charades for your essay, whatever it is, as long as you're engaged, that's all that matters to me. I think I see myself as a wide open classroom. Like, it doesn't, no judgment. Like, that's one of the things I do want in a classroom. Like, it's a judgment-free zone. Like, if you think you have to judge, I kind of don't really want you in here, because it's like, I want everybody to feel safe in here, everybody to talk, because you have those few shy students in the corner. I want my class to be where everybody's in that classroom talking, like everyone. So it's like, yeah.
All right. So Oscar, is there a piece of advice or a quote or a message that you'd like to share with our listeners about the power of representation in education?
Of course. One thing that is made clear and very clear is that students need to be open to their potential. Not only do students aren't given that chance to open their potential, is because many people don't care about them. So I feel like one thing of advice is, even for teachers that are listening, is do something different for your student. Do something that's going to push them to open themselves to what they may do. They don't even know that what potential they have right now, right? But with also like social media, I see different teachers teaching about different things. Rap is very prominent, music, and I feel like some students are not shown that because most people don't care about them. And so I think just push your student to the best of their capacity, but also show them love and show them that there's somebody that cares about you, and show them that they have potential and they may be somebody one day. That there's always that. You should never tell a student that they can't be anybody, because then that just brings them down. And you should push. And obviously, it's good to hold somebody accountable. And obviously you hold that student accountable, but then you also show them love at the same time. So you must push that student to their full capacity.
All right. And that is all the time we have today. Thank you, Dewan and Oscar, for your powerful words today and joining us. And thank you all for watching. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.